Trojan fans, celebrate every Trojan win and enjoy the sweet taste of victory with a free donut at Ralph's the day after the win. Download your digital coupon from the Ralph's app to score your free donut at any Los Angeles area Ralph's store. And when you've got good beer and good vibes, it's all bueno. Stone Buena Vesa Salt and Lime Lager is Baja-inspired and imported from San Diego. Located near you at findoutstonebrewing.com. Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, Keely, you're here for our football roundtable. No, Cody Kessler, he is out sick this week. We got some bad news. Right before we went on air, we found out that legendary USC football coach John Robinson, JR, passed away. A fight on forever moment there for one of the greats. Certainly, John Robinson was before my time in terms of as a coach. Yeah, I had 2 stints at USC. And that was after he was coaching under John McKay. So truly a great Trojan. And then even while I've been around, he's always been around. Sort of an ambassador of this program really during my time here at USC. That's how I've gotten to know him. An old ball coach who had a lot of stories to tell for sure, and a great one gone.
Yeah, hard to find someone who doesn't love John Robinson, J-Rob. A lot of guys. I obviously didn't play under him. Just kind of missed his portion at USC. And a legendary run. He had some good times at USC, and players just you talk to former players who you got a chance to play under him and just loved the way he coached, and just a real players coach on so many levels. My experience with him was he'd pop into a meeting or pop into your D-line room with Coach O and him going back and forth. Those kind of memories will just imprint on your brain when you're a young football player, and just always had a smile and something to tell you about your game and how you're doing, and so always cared about you as a player, not just as a player but also as a human being. So really tough news for the Trojan family out there, because J-Rob was one of the great ones.
Yeah, he was honored in 2022, I believe, at the Coliseum, and I got to interview him, and just his love still for USC was just oozing, and it's just so fun to see people who just bleed Cardinal gold. You talked about that, Jordan, but he's just one of those guys who just you knew that he was a Trojan through and through. So it was an honor to interview him, and obviously wish him and the family the best.
Fight on forever, John Robinson. Will certainly be missed around here. A week of change, a bye week makes sense, certainly, for it to be a week of change. Obviously, things not going the way the program wanted to on the football side. And so the big news of the week since last we talked is Jade Mayava comes in and will be the starting quarterback this Saturday against Nebraska. So that's obviously something we'll talk to Lincoln Riley about when he gets here. But how do you guys expect things to be different on the field? How will it play out differently?
Well, you're hoping to create a spark. Obviously, not getting enough wins this year. You got to sometimes make a change up and feel out how your team is doing. Obviously, Lincoln has the pulse of his team and maybe knows they needed a spark plug. And by no means Miller Moss was, I think, the sole reason for why the team was losing. But maybe you're hoping as a coach, I think you implant a player who can maybe draw some life out of you and maybe cause the defenses to have a little more to look at. So 3 games here, got to finish strong this season because it means a lot moving forward, and hopefully you want to get into a bowl game still, got to find 6 wins. So I think you're just trying to find some life here.
Yeah, and he adds another element to Lincoln Riley's offense with that running ability. I believe it was his first play as a Trojan. He took the ball, pulled the ball, and ran with it. So he has that ability. You are able to kind of add another layer to that. And it's interesting because both Nebraska and USC had a bye week prior to this matchup. So and changes on both sides. So we'll see how both defenses adjust for that, because there's definitely new faces on both offenses.
Yeah, definitely some Nebraska things to talk to Coach Riley about as well. And I was looking up Jade Mayava, doing some research before we came on here, and it's interesting. There's 2 sort of areas where I think you could really see a difference. One, I think, is in the red zone run game. He's not as big a runner, at least. He had a full season, if people don't know, at UNLV last year. He threw for 3,000 yards. He threw for 17 touchdowns. He had 10 interceptions. He never ran for more than 40 yards in a game. So I don't necessarily know that he's going to go out there and run for 85 yards on Saturday. Probably a little bit more like what we saw from Caleb Williams. And in that sense, it was the red zone where you have another person to think about. I mean, it's almost just a numbers game when you get down there. And, you think about the goal line stand that Washington made that maybe ultimately was the difference in the last game. But having that extra guy who's a real threat to pull it, puts more pressure on the defense in that spot.
Well, you think about the defensive end and the linebacker usually who kind of responsible for that play when when you get that RPO action and you're that defensive end and USC's running the ball. Woody Marks is going to run the ball. I'm crashing down. I'm not worried about so much pulling out the ball and running for it. So it definitely adds an element. And I think you saw his nimbleness. I mean, just on that play alone, you just saw it was fluid. It didn't look forced. It didn't look like it was having trouble running. It was a tough go. So it was nice to see that change in pace. And I think, like you said, Keely, it'll add an extra layer for defenses to get ready for.
For sure.
The other thing I was going to bring up was the vertical passing game.
Yeah.
We talked about that at times not being here this season. And when I look at UNLV last season, he led the Mountain West in yards per attempt. So much of what we've seen, this year has been that short passing game, controlled passing game. Maybe a chance to push it vertically down the field a little bit more. Yeah,
that's something that I think it's been missing from this season. That's something that was kind of a hallmark of the last 2 seasons with Lincoln Riley, that deep shot, that kind of, keep defenses honest, and that kind of wow factor as well. So it would be interesting. That was a great stat poll, Jordan, to see how Jaden kind of plays the field vertically in that sense.
Yeah, if you listen to Cody all year, it's been concerning that we're able to get, take the top off. Some of the balls have been kind of short on the year, so maybe I haven't seen Jaden throw a bunch, but you listen to Cody Kessler talk about him. He raves about how it comes off his hand. So we'll find out if he can get it out there for those receivers.
And there's some breakdowns, right? Cody did a breakdown.
Yes.
You guys did a breakdown before the season, because I do remember a lot of Jaden's highlights being vertical passes, long passes.
Yes. If you go to our episode that says the 9 transfers that USC got, we have a full film breakdown of that, and I probably will clip it for this week as well.
Yeah,
so
please
find
do.
it on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, please do. Victory Pod USC is the Instagram. You can find them on YouTube, but check that out, because I think it'll be interesting to see. Certainly makes this game more intriguing coming up this weekend. It's USC versus Nebraska, presented by United Airlines. 1 p.m. kick on Fox. We will go on the USC Trojans Media Network at 11 a.m. with the Trojan Tailgate Show presented by Yeti. All right, I think the head coach Lincoln Riley is headed off the practice field and headed our way, so we should have him next coming up on Trojan. Final segment of Trojans Live on a Veterans Day Monday. Thank you so much to all the men and women who serve and have served our country, keep us safe and protect us. We thank you so much for your service. Our over-under is presented by Pechanga Resort Casino, a proud partner of USC Athletics. Over-under 35 pass attempts on Saturday. For context, Miller Moss is averaging 40.2 attempts a game. So under would put you pretty well under what this team has been doing. So the question is, does the offense really change strategically under Jaden Mayaba?
I'm going over, but before I go over, I'm going to thank Jordan Moore and Keely Orr for battling through tough sicknesses last week and making it through the game.
Keely wasn't here.
But,
Jordan got me sick.
But she went to the game.
Jordan got me sick for the record.
She wasn't sick at the game.
But more importantly, this one goes out to Cody Kessler in his rookie season, not be able to hack it on a Monday with a cold. So over.
I love how I didn't get that. I don't know if I got slander last week, but
you did not.
Oh, nice, thank you.
Well, maybe you did.
Believe that? You believe that?
No, I do not.
Who remembers?
I don't. What's interesting about that stat, though, Jordan?
What did you say, Sean? Under?
Over 35.
Okay.
What's interesting, though, is that USC's been close in every game, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you would assume that the pass attempts have increased because of that, right?
Oh, because they're throwing more.
Because they need to.
Yeah, I mean, typically that would be if you were trailing a lot, which they have been trailing certainly at times. But yes, there have not been many games where you end up in that situation where you're like trying to run the clock out.
Yeah, and just passing the ball off. I don't know.
I would expect another close game on Saturday. I mean, who knows? Maybe not. But
I will take
these are two teams that seem pretty evenly matched.
I'll take the under to be different.
Okay.
How about that?
Close game for sure.
Yeah, close game, right? Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a battle. This is a fun one. USC Nebraska. I mean, like I said, great uniform matchup, great pedigree between these two programs. Looking forward to it. We played them not too long ago in the Carroll era they played, but Nebraska was down and USC was up. So, I think this is two programs trying to go in the same direction a little bit, and so this becomes a swing game for the two programs on Saturday. We will talk to you then. Thank you so much. Our guy Efren Beza has stepped in and engineered and produced the show, so thank you to him. Brian Cohen is back at the studio. Thank you to everyone involved. Until then, fight on.